the debate over the cost of sending more troops to Afghanistan is heating up in Washington, and that has some in Congress really toying with the idea of new taxes. Let's head to D.C. and Lizzie O'Leary with more on that story. Lizzie.
Yeah, Carol, this comes from House Democrats. They're the much more liberal wing than the Senate, and they're nervous that the funding for the war could be a draw on the budget and that it would sort of displace some of their domestic priorities. So they're pushing for what you'd call a shared sacrifice tax. That's the way they phrase it. A bit like the millionaire's tax on health care. That would essentially try to fund those operations instead of drawing from the general budget. Now, most of the attention that we've seen in this debate so far has centered on the level of troops. We still don't know what that will be. The president hasn't announced his decision yet. But the president's the budget director told Bloomberg, though, that whatever the level, the cost works out to about $1 million per soldier.
Now, with regard to the ongoing operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, if the president, and I'm not prejudging, I have enough on my plate, I don't need to wade into foreign policy too, but your rule of thumb is roughly correct. Every 10,000 troops would entail a fiscal year cost of about $10 billion.
So that could be about $400, $500 billion over 10 years, about half the cost of some of the health care bills under consideration in Congress. Now, this is an interesting issue because it essentially dovetails both budget hawks and liberals on the Democratic side. If you look at the defense budget, it has climbed significantly. That's where you have some budget hawks criticizing that. Still, it's unlikely that you would see conservative Republicans weigh against funding the military operation, but you do have this interesting dovetailing of concern in both parties. That's something that we're likely to see as we get closer to a troop decision and the real costs of it start to be calculated, and balancing that with the domestic priorities both of Congress and in the White House. Back to you guys.
All right, Lizzie, thanks so much.